Right, hey everybody. I hope everyone had a great weekend. Mine was pretty nice. Um, Spent some time with family, went swimming, played a couple games on my Steam backlog, so yeah, good all around. But I think I'm ready to get back to tackling this project with Lua we've been working on. So, what we're trying to do here is basically, let me pull up this Lua script. So in this script, for example, we want to request the speed stat of every monster that's been selected. And the reason that we have to do it like this is because since our game has hidden information and it's even the host doesn't know all information about the players, we need to actually make web requests to the different servers and clients to get all the stats for any stat we don't know. And so in order to make it easiest to do that within a Lua script, we want to use these coroutine. So we request a stat here, and then we'll actually get the result of the request here. Oh, hey Taco, good to see ya. So that's what I'm working on now, and I'm trying to bring myself back up to speed. So we haven't actually done anything here, I guess. That's right, because there's going to be a few different Lua calls that will have these stat requests, so I wanted to try and separate it out from the sort player call itself. So I created this separate class. Alright, oh, it looks like I got a little bit done here. Okay, these are Lua interface classes, and this is the class that will actually request a stat from the server. Oh, but right, I just basically for testing, it doesn't actually send anything to the server, it just waits a second and then pretends that the stat was received. Right, and okay, I just created the different new objects. Get rid of those comments, we don't need them anymore. Right, so let's clear out some of these other classes that we don't need anymore. Oh right, and I did give myself some hints here. So first we need to make sure that the stat is valid. I think how I'll actually do this, well I guess we'll always need to return an asynchronous request. So how do I want to handle if a script requests a stat that's not valid? I guess I should just throw a runtime exception. Oh yeah, because I already do that here, so that should be okay. So for each var, oh I don't have the database yet. Game data. Can I turn the music down a little bit? Okay, sure. Oh yeah, it was a bit loud, huh? Yeah, is that better for you? I don't mind, it doesn't affect the music for me, just you guys. Alright, so database. I'll wait to get that object. So for each database, oh wait, stat and database, stat name map. Okay, that's how I do it. So actually I just need to check to see if it's contained in here. So if not database, stat name map contains key, stat name then we'd throw a script exception. Yeah, much better, thank you. Oh yeah, I know, that can be a problem. So invalid stat name. Okay, let's do a string format in here. Is not registered. I was right the first time. Okay. So now that is okay. Okay, so I guess I need to create this asynchronous request object. So yeah, the Lua monster is not null. Okay, so I guess I need to create it out here actually. And what? Oh, I have it right here. So we have the type. And that's all, huh? Yeah, I don't know what else information we'd want to send in there. Well, there'll probably be some things that will need to be... I guess it just depends how I want to store the actual data for the game. Okay, I guess I'll get to that. But for now, the request.type would just be stat. Oh, can I not set it like this? And again, by putting Moonsharp hidden right here, Lua won't be able to call this set, but they can call get. Okay, so now I need to check and then see if the user data is a block. Oops. Support block. Alright. And if this is not null, then we can just send another request, except it's a block. Okay. Am I still just setting up Lua functionality, or have I begun continuing gameplay mechanics? Well, right now I'm trying to make or support the scripts that will actually give me what the actions and ability will actually do. If that makes sense. And also, and in order to do that, they need to be able to ask the server for statistics. So that's what I'm working on right now. Specifically, this function will actually sort which players go first in a turn. Like in Pokemon, the player with the highest speed would go first. It's kind of similar in this. Or, like, it depends how they ever want to mod it, but that's what I'm going for right now. Okay, and then... yeah, if we get this far, we just need to throw invalid owner exception again, because it's not a monster or block. Alright, so that takes care of that. So this is one thing we have to see if the stat is known already. Because if we already know the stat, we don't need to send a request. But for now, we don't really have a way of telling the difference. And also, all stats would be known because everything's on the local computer. Yeah, so let me write a note to come back to this. add unknown, or how do I say this? Real, or I don't know what. Remove testing code for unknown stats and do a async request. Is that what the class is called? Yeah. Go back this page. Alright. Yeah, so we've gotta, before we can actually start making actual gameplay mods, there's still quite a few things we need to support. But I think once we get the framework for these asynchronous requests, that's definitely the most complicated part that's still missing. So anyway, here let's make some helper functions just to make this easier. Monster stat known, and we'll have the monster ID and the string stat name. Oh, since we already have the Lua monster, let's just pass that. But for now, we'll just return true. Or actually false, because we always want to pretend like we have to make a request. And also block stat known. Okay, so if monster stat is known, so do we actually, I don't think we need to do anything if it's known. Except I guess we would signal this request as complete, but we don't even handle that at this point. Yeah, that's a good point. How does the sort player Lua caller know when something is done? I think, yeah, we need to return a little more than probably just this Lua interface class. So let's see here. So public struct. Oh no, it can't be a struct, it has to be a class. Lua async request. Yeah, I should rename this to something like Lua async request handler, because it's just having that S at the end is going to be confusing to me. Okay, and this will have the Lua interface object. As well as complete, and maybe we can, if we need to, we can add information about the actual like the type and all that, but I think this might be all we need. Well, actually, this should really just be a Lua stat request, huh? Because the only other asynchronous request I can think of right now is like a pathfinding request. Because A star takes a while to, or any pathfinding takes a while to execute. So for right now, I think I'll just keep this specialized for just stat requests. Is there anything else I want to add in here? Okay, so I don't really want this class to have like much memory at all, or have to keep track of very much data at all about these requests, because as I've said before, it's going to be handled by a couple other places. So maybe I should make these a little more complicated. Like maybe this should even be a private class. And then like each function call will need to have its own list of requests, because this function here needs to keep track if this specific function call has requested anything. So I'm not sure really how optimized I need to make this. Probably just each call to the, or any call that has asynchronous requests can just have like an ID. So let's do it that way. Public int caller ID, and then the stat request class will keep track of the IDs. So next ID, and okay, so I guess yeah, I'll just keep. I'm having trouble deciding if I want to try and design this right away to support all different kinds of asynchronous requests or not, because that's going to take some more thinking on my part, but of course we'll save some work down the road. Okay, so let's see. After we send this request to ask the server for a certain stat, how do we... Okay, we get this response received message. I guess I should subscribe to that. Okay, we don't want to claim. Subscribe to message. Wait, that was correct. Oh, is this because I'm missing the semicolon? Oh no, I needed to have the function. So on stat response. And let's see. So I'm trying to think. You know what? We should just kind of go from the beginning. I think that will make this easier for me. So we have this call. Yeah, and we actually won't send a result right away, because we can't. Yeah, because this function won't execute all at once. So that means this can't be a query. It needs to be a message. Okay, what's it mad about? Oh yeah, we don't claim. That was the wrong one. wrong way. So yeah, we subscribe to this message, so that way when anyone calls it, we will do the Lua, and then we'll need to have another function that will return the results when we're done. So let's see here, private claim sort player Lua call result equals controller claim message. Okay, so now whenever we decide that a certain function is done, we would just call that claim message complete, and then we would send on result send the call result. Obviously this is not what we want to do because this sends back no data, but so this is good. Okay, so I guess this is when I need to figure out about a coroutine. So let's bring back up the Moonsharp coroutine page. Okay, so here's a Lua function, and so we have the dynamic value script create coroutine function. Okay, so I guess this kind of works, but well, I mean, obviously this works, but it's not really what we're going to want to do, because what this treats this Lua function as an enumerable that runs all at once, but obviously the whole point of coroutines for us is that they take more than one frame to complete. Okay, yeah, this I don't think we'll need, although it does have this resume. Let's read these caveats for distinction. It's not possible to yield out of a nested call. Okay, well, we're not going to do that. Call a script inside a C# function called from Lua, you can't yield. Okay, we won't have this. I don't think we'll need to worry about that. Okay, so I guess let's just start playing with it. Okay, so it's called create coroutine from the function. Oh yeah, because it does a string and it returns this, which we have this function already when we loaded. So then we just call script create coroutine, and then we need to run it until it yields, I guess. I wonder, we should just test coroutines real quick outside of all this. Well, I guess I can do that here. That way I won't have to create some other separate infrastructure to do it all. Yeah, so let's just forget about stat requests and everything, and we just want to try and get the coroutine to work. So print, oops, spelled that wrong. First call, and let's, I don't know, have 10 parts. Then we'd have to wait 10 frames, well that's okay. I equals 1 to 10, do okay, so basically I want to make sure that we can send something to the yield and also get a value back. So local return equals coroutine yield I, and then we'll print, oops, I can't spell print tonight, I guess. Return, and the dot dot is how you add strings together. Technically that's called concatenation. Okay, iteration. Actually, I'm not sure. I should call it wrap it in toString just in case I don't want to deal with errors right now. Okay. And then this is print complete. Okay, so we won't have any of this stuff right now. Okay, so we'll just have a try. Well, no, I won't even do that. I'll just comment out this whole part, and this too, actually. So down here at the bottom, we'll have dynamic value equals so okay, we script create coroutine, and then we return the function. So we'll need the Lua environment. Oops. Right there. Create coroutine. Okay, I'm not sure which that is or what that is, but I think don't need to worry about it. So we got the function. Okay. And the function will be database sort function. Okay, I'm guessing since this is already in the database, we load it already. Okay, good, we do. And I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of cheat and just have the intro manager call this function right away. Controller get our sub to message. Alright, and then we'll oh, I don't want to sub, I want to claim the message actually so I can send it. Oh, I can't call it, I forgot. I can't do that in a constructor. So let's just call it on the first. Okay, how do I want to do this actually? This is not really a good place to do it right here. Maybe, let's see, the problem we don't have the controller. Okay. Don't really want to have to add anything like this because I'd probably forget it. And then right here, I think we can call this without any problems. So send, oh right. And then we can just send an empty because that doesn't matter right now. And then I need to get the test claim right here. Controller claim message. Okay. So let's see what happens when I play. Hopefully we won't get any errors, but I think that there might be some. Yeah, like right here. It's getting mad because it's not complete yet. I'll just return null because nothing actually calls that. It's compiling. Is it done? I was trying to pull this back up, but it wasn't. There we go. Okay, so there's a loading error. The function find data ability move get actions. Okay, so expected ability move get actions and got null. Oh. I commented this out, but I guess something actually used it. Yeah, because we're going to actually change the way this works, so I didn't want it to throw any errors, but that's okay. Okay, so the ending phase went, but doesn't... What happened? Generating map. I'm looking for Lua comments here. Check map. So match phase intro, turn to start. Okay, yeah, so it should have happened right here. Oh, I didn't want to open this page up. Oh, because okay. Well, no errors so far, but I need to actually, I think I have to call this function once. Coroutine. So I don't want an enumerable. Unity coroutine. Oh, that's kind of cool, but not for us. Okay, yeah, we just call resume, I think. And you can give it arguments. Okay, that's nice. So let's see what happens if I just call that. And I got Lua first call on the first iteration. Alright, so that's nice. Let's actually get the dynamic value return from that and print that out here. I wonder if it has a good toString method. Don't know. Log return. I guess there's one way to find out. Okay, yeah, it gave us 1, which is exactly what we wanted. So what happened here, so it called the first call when we called the function resume, and it got to iteration toString I, which printed iteration 1, which we can see right here. And then it yielded 1, which we got in this return value, and so when I printed that out, we got 1. So that's exactly what we want. And let's see. Let's do one other thing here. I want to see what happens if we try to just yield without sending anything. Coroutine yield. I guess I should put it in front. If we don't send anything, I think we'll get either a void or a nil dynamic value. I'm not sure exactly how Moonsharp will handle that. Okay, yeah, we got a nil. Okay, that works fine. So now what I need to do is, until the coroutine is complete, I need to keep calling resume. So let's see. While value coroutine state. Let's see what states I have. Dead, force suspended, main not started, running, suspended. Okay, maybe this is what I want, but I probably shouldn't just do a while loop, should I, in case this goes forever. Int I equals, okay, well we know we have 10 loops, so I'll just loop 30 times. Oops. Oh, except I did this backwards. Start at 0. So now if we don't understand coroutines perfectly, we won't have an infinite loop. And then here I'll just type in Unity engine debug log C# complete. I need a semicolon here. And if this works how I think, it'll be perfect for our requests. Okay, so yeah, it goes first call nil, iteration 1, and then return nil. Okay, I guess we should check return values, but I'll do that in a second. Everything looks fine. And then when it gets to 10, it says void actually. Oh, I guess that called when, okay, I see what happened here. Iteration 10, and then we printed 10 here, and I guess it looped one more time. Wait. Okay, so in Lua, return nil, okay, and then it did iteration 10, which is right here. Okay, and then it yielded. And that's why we printed 10 here. And then we went back into Lua, we give it null. Then it went right to complete. And then we got void here because there was nothing sent at all. Which that was, the void was from this print. I should probably add prefixes here just to make it dynamic value. Okay, and then we got C# complete. Okay, so that's pretty easy. So basically we need to store this coroutine value somewhere. I should probably just pass the coroutine to the async request handler. So that way we won't even need this caller ID, I don't think. Well, no, because the sort player Lua color is the one that needs to return the values from this, so it needs to keep the coroutine. Yeah, I think that's right. Okay, so good. I'm glad this works. Let's go back to the intro manager and comment out that testing code. I'll leave it in case we want to do something else. But now I know how... Oh, well, actually we still need to test giving stuff to Lua. So let's just give it, I don't know, I times 3. And that should work out pretty well. Yeah, so this will be C# passed. Just to make things a little easier to tell a difference about when on our print logs. Okay, and I guess this can be Lua passed. Okay, so let's try this one more time. Alright. Oh, except saying Lua pass makes this a little confusing, but that's okay. First call nil. Okay. So iteration 1, it says C# past 6. Why is that? Should be I times 3, shouldn't it? Oh, these i's don't match up. Yeah, that's a little confusing, isn't it? Because iteration 1 is actually right here. But that's okay, I guess. We know. I mean, we know that we can actually pass something back to the coroutine, which is the main problem. It's just these prints are a little, or the actual value is a little confusing because we don't actually the I in the Lua and C# don't match up, but that's understandable. Alright, so I think we're good now. I want to go here, and now I'm going to comment this testing code out. Okay, so oops. So now I know what I need to do here. Okay, let's leave this. So basically I need to make another function to call the coroutine. Void continue coroutine. And this is the part that we'd add the globals. Basically this code moves in here. Okay. And this sort should only be called once. So I don't need to like keep a list of coroutines. I can just do one, I think. Active coroutine. Oops. And in fact, if the active coroutine is not false, I'll just I'll do it even differently. I'll just debug assert. I won't even throw a play exception, because if this happens, it's a problem in my code, not due to mods. So active coroutine equals null. Do sort players Lua called twice. Basically, if you've never seen assert, if this is false, then it throws an error with this message, basically. This is kind of an easy way to test, or shorthand for testing. Okay, so we'll need to add functions to Lua, but can't worry about that just yet. So I guess I need to get our script ID for the async request handler. So int async ID equals, I don't even, okay, so do I want to just have a bunch of messages that I can call, or do I want to like tightly couple this class to the async handler? Let's see, we're gonna have, well, the thing is that we're gonna have to keep accessing it a lot to call this function. So maybe I could just make this a component. Oh, that's gonna make things confusing. Okay, well I guess I'll worry about how I get this function. or how I get that class in a second. Excuse Had to give a little sneeze. Alright, so we'll call some function get, or I don't know, start async script. And this should actually go up on top. And all we'll do, so int id equals next id, and then we need to increment this, and we turn id. So I don't know if we need to create something else, maybe. So we do that here, and then right away we need to create the coroutines. So active coroutine equals, I just did this. Oh, or it's right here, of course. Dot coroutine. I wonder if this could throw any errors. I don't know, I guess we'll see if time comes. And then we just call continue coroutine to do the first actually, we might not want to call this right away, because if this script returns in one frame, it kind of, I mean, it would speed things up, but it can make code for whatever class actually calls this do Lua function a little confusing, because it has to handle the possibilities of the Lua complete message being sent before this function returns, which is a little, can be a bit of a pain. So I think we'll actually wait until next frame to start the coroutine. So I need to sub. I need to start an every frame function call, which I usually call tick. Ticking priority, just be normal. And that's so that you can sort the order that these functions are called, because there's one centralized class that calls these functions for every object that registers. And this is delta time, which is the time between the last frame call. Hi Dougal Dude. Curious if I'm worried about DMCA, the copyright? Oh, you mean for my music? I've made sure that the music is available for streaming, so I haven't had any problems with it so far. Right, so let's see. Right, and if active coroutine is null, then I guess I should just test if it's not null. If it's not null, then we'll call continue coroutine. Alright, and then it just calls this. Okay, and then we would set up any global functions. Oh, Yeah, that is true, Dougal Dude. You're not sure how Pokemon like my game is. You just heard there's been a few games that Pokemon has filed DMCA. That is true, but my game is just going to be inspired by Pokemon, mostly in the gameplay. It's not going to actually have any Pokemon in it, so I think I should be okay. But yeah, that is definitely something to worry about if you're making an actual Pokemon fan game. Request. Yeah, they're against Pokemon clones. Okay, so what I'm looking for here is I want to have a function that I can... Basically, I want to have the handlers for request stat and waiting for responses. So let's see. Public void Lua. Let's prefix it with Lua. Request stat. And what? So I have, yeah, the monster and speed. Or monster and stat name. I guess I'll keep these separate in case I need to do some kind of filtering, but I forgot to say is block known right here. Block. Even though this doesn't actually do anything at the moment, I just want to kind of remember. Right, the logic here is actually bad. It should be if this is false. Doesn't own RPG genre, they own Pokemon. Yeah, that's definitely right, Taco. They can only basically get you if you copy their art, sound. Well, I guess they could get you for a story, but that's a lot more nebulous. But yeah, I'm just going to use some gameplay, which and it won't even be a straight copy because I'm going to meld it with like chessboard strategy. So basically what I'll do... Okay, I guess I will need this request. Owner object. Okay, and also we need to know which stat is currently running. Okay, so let's have start. Let's call this new async script, and I don't know, void ready to run async script, and then we'll have the ID. And I guess this will be the code maybe that will actually register these functions. So that way we won't need to do it in every script that does this. So let's see. So private and current handling script. Okay, so we want to set this right here, and then set these globals, which we have the request stat is what I'm working on right now. Okay, and yeah, returns Lua interface asynchronous request. Yeah, actually, I think this was supposed to directly be what Lua calls. Yeah, I think I was making it a little more complicated, or I just forgot what I was planning. So I'll just prefix this with Lua. Okay, what's it not like? Oh, I need the arguments. So we have the dynamic value and a string. Oh, right, and I think the return value goes at the end, which is opposite how, well, that's intuitive to me, but. Right, so void, and then we'll also need to clean up async script. I guess I don't really need to call that. And here we would just remove this global. And set handling script ID to -1. Which I guess I should also do up here. I wrote myself a note in Asana, so I don't need that. Okay, and then we can actually return the request. Okay, is everything good? I think so. And so back here, yeah, we don't need to set this up. We'd actually just call async handler setup. I guess I could rename this as setup instead of get ready to call. And then we just pass it the ID so it knows what script to deal with. Set up. And then we need to call same thing except cleanup. What's wrong here? Oh, I must have made it private by accident. I just copied it. Public void cleanup async script. Oh, it's because yeah, I'm giving it an argument when it doesn't need one. Okay. Alright, so exception and sort players function. So how do I want to do this? I think it might actually be better to call the Lua async request handler because these will be coroutine yields which can yeah, both return and expect information. And it'd be easier if this async request handler would take care of it, I think. Oh, this class is going to get really huge, isn't it? I may need to somehow separate some of this code out, but I'll worry about it later. Okay, let's put it in between here. Public void call coroutine. Coroutine. There we go. Okay, and then we just call resume. So how does this work actually? Okay, so when we get to here, Lua calls yield. Okay. And if it includes an async request object as an argument, then we want to return it the corresponding value for that request. So that means if it's not ready, we need to keep waiting until it's done. But if it is ready, then we just keep on resuming until we meet when it's not ready. And then like for here, without an argument, then we just send it the most recent one in the queue. Okay, so I need a lot more information in here, I think. So the stat request is okay, but we need like for this script ID, we need to have whatever request we're waiting on, and then also like a queue of requests. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's say async. If I can have such trouble typing that word for some reason. Okay, so async tracking, and I guess we'll have the easiest way to do this. We'll just have a dictionary of int, which will be the ID to the object. And I don't think this dictionary, like, I usually try to stay away from dictionaries because they're really slow, but this won't have to be accessed that often, so I think it should be okay. So tracking. Alright. So the thing is that maybe this class should not actually be what calls the coroutine every frame. Maybe it should just basically like this new async script will actually just request something, and then that stays in the this async request handler until the whole thing is done, and then we like return back the dynamic value of the final return, maybe. But I guess the thing is, I just realized I don't actually give an argument to this script. That's one thing I did not test. But I guess what would happen, but I should have printed this args right here. Let's see what, that's actually a good point, because I need to send these arguments to the function when I create the coroutine. So let's comment all this out again, and we'll just re-comment this, or re-enable this. And on this first call, just also print function arguments. I think what will happen is Moonsharp is smart enough that whatever I pass on the first resume will be passed to the function. I hope that's what happens. And then I need to re-enable this code. So let's see. Go back to the beginning. First call 0. Oh well, no, that's okay. Move past nil. Okay, this is a little weird though. Why did C#? Like it's like C# skipped the 3 because it goes from 0, which is 0 times 3, and then all the way to 6, which is 2 times 3. So I don't know what happened to the 1 iteration. Oh, it's right here, this yield. Let's see. Local. I'm pretty sure this is it. So the no arg yield. Let's do it one more time just to be absolutely sure. And if I scroll back up, yeah, so no arg yield, that's where the 3 went, so it's not being eaten or anything. Okay, so that's all fine. So let's see here. So basically we want to have like a callback like before they resume the coroutine and then after the coroutine runs, so that we could add any extra functions besides the ones that the async handler supports. And then also we want to know when the coroutine is all the way complete so that we can obviously call this. So yeah, we need to give a few handlers. Yeah, like I said, this class is just going to get gigantic because it also is going to support like any other async requests we have. But I think I can probably move this code out in the future. So this will only deal with the actual script execution. I guess I'll worry about that. Okay, so we'll have an action. I don't know if it'll have any arguments, I don't think so. And this will be what we call pre-resume. And then post-resume. Do I want to give the dynamic value? I don't know if we really want these classes to concern themselves with that. And then we'll have action, and this will have the dynamic value because it will be the actual return value from the function. On complete. Okay, so these will just be callbacks. We'll still need this next ID, but actually other scripts won't actually call this. Okay, so action, pre-resume, post. There might be a better way to do this than a bunch of arguments. Okay, so we do need the ID. But yeah, we actually won't return anything. And then we just need to create a new tracking object. I'm not going to worry about caching this. Oops. Alright. Having trouble typing now, you can tell I've been programming for a while. Post resume. What's it complaining about? Oh, it's private. And on complete. And I guess we don't really need the ID because ID is really just the key into the dictionary. Tracking. Oh. Okay, let's change this to, I don't know, active tracks. Okay. So we'll also need to store the coroutine here. Okay, yeah, we'll also need to supply the arguments. I think I can just use a type argument here. Let's see. Okay, well, I was wondering, like, what if I don't want to have any arguments to the first call? But if I do that, I can just give it a nil dynamic value. So first args. I guess I need to. Oh. I don't really want to have to store this argument because it's going to make trying to store it in this object a lot more complicated, because I'll have to have a type argument here, which will make it not play nice with the dictionary. So I think I won't do it like that. Okay. So do we want to be very efficient here? I guess so. Well, now that I think about it, there's really no problem, because this is an object. For some reason I was thinking it was a structure, and as a structure you don't really want to convert it to an object because that generates extra garbage. But this is already an object, so I don't need to have a type argument. And that way I could just store it as an object right here. First args, and that makes things a lot simpler. And then coroutine equals database Lua script environment create coroutine. Oh, this is starting to have a whole lot of arguments, isn't it? So we also need the closure for the function. Okay, so generally about 5 arguments is when I think it's time to make a helper struct. So this will be new async script args. One good thing about this, I guess, is that it does make it easier to use with my messaging system. Because it only supports one argument. Okay. I just need to prepend args to all this. Okay, and I think that's it. So now I need some way to tell if this async tracking, like what state it's in, if it's the first call or if it's waiting. Well, if it's the first, excuse me, if it's the first call, we might as well just deal with it now. So private void call script. We could just pass this. And I don't. Well, no, I do need to set the ID, don't I? So let's just pass the ID with it. If I really need to, I can store the ID in this tracking object, but okay, so we set that, and then I actually haven't done the rest of it. Okay, let's pull this out again. And then I can move this to the finally. I guess we'd move that there as well. And I can get rid of these scripts, or those functions. Okay, so finally here is where we will actually call the coroutines. So call script ID. Oops. Tracking. Okay, and then yeah, we will need to have some kind of state here. At least if it's the first call or not. Maybe. Because really we'd only call the script if we have an argument ready. So maybe I can just do that. Alright, so tracking, coroutine, resume arg, excuse me. Okay, and yeah, we'll do another while here, except it will not actually be a while because we'll don't want to have an infinite loop. We can set this really large. If something like this ever happens, then probably the Lua function is messed up. Tracking coroutine state does not equal dead. And then basically we'll also break out of this if we're waiting for a request to complete. Alright, so let's see here. So maybe I don't need to save the first args, but let's do like this. So we need a dynamic value, new user data. Okay, let's go ahead and just pass a user or dynamic value here because, like I said, most of the times we want to send some user data object, but we might not want to send anything, so then it would just be a nil dynamic value. And the script can't tell the difference really. But now we don't need to save that in the tracking variable, which is kind of nice. Okay, and then we'll have the dynamic, or I guess we need to store it out here in case I need to send it to the onComplete. Oops. So return equals tracking coroutine resume. Okay, so for instance here, there's a bunch of request stats, which does not pause it, but then we get to this yield, and we return nothing, which means we want to get the first request in the queue and wait for that to be ready. So that means this value would be a user data for an async request or nothing. So let's see, how would I deal with that? Well, I guess first of all we need a queue here. Which would let's just try and make this a little bit what's the word? Generic. I don't know if I'll need that. So we'll have a list of requests. We could use a queue, but we also will need to be able to remove requests from here if the Lua object asks for a specific one, or the Lua script. I guess I should implement this first, shouldn't I? Which is not that difficult. This is a boolean. So Lua, waiting for responses. Okay, and we have this handling script ID, so this is actually pretty easy. So active tracks, handling script ID, requests count is greater than 0. So that means if there's any active requests, then this will return true. So this is just a function with a boolean return. This is waiting for responses. I might rename that, I don't know. Excuse me. My allergies are acting up, of course. Alright, so that's all good, I think. What's the next part? Yeah, so I just need to do this yielding. Okay, so if return dot type is okay, well actually we need to check to see if the script is complete. So if tracking coroutine state equals dead, oh I forgot to put if at the beginning, which means it's done, then we'll actually break. Let's see, boolean. Oh, we don't need to do it like that. And then when we get out of here, if the coroutine is done, actually we would do it, yeah, we'd want to do it inside the try catch, I think, because, well actually the catch throws something new, so it exits this whole function regardless. But I guess to make things a little clearer, because if some error is thrown, then we don't want to execute this code. But anyway, if it's dead, well, okay, yeah, this is okay. This finally will always be called no matter what, so. Okay, so if it's dead, we just want to call tracking on complete. Well, I guess we shouldn't call it right away. We should cache it because I want to delete this tracking object before we call on complete. Alright, so on complete equals tracking. Oops, why did I do that? Make me type this late, please don't. Okay, and so now I can delete. I should maybe make a separate script or a separate function to clean up in case this gets more complicated. So clean up track int ID. There we go, that's what I wanted. The gist of it is we'll just get. So if there's an error here, I guess we'd still need to clean up the track. But we wouldn't want to call on complete. Okay, so I guess this needs to go outside actually. So clean up track ID tracking. Oh no, I gotta do it before. Actually, I don't think it really makes much difference because we're not going to recycle this tracking variable, so we can just keep holding on to it, but just in case I ever change that. So for right now, we'll just remove, and I won't worry about cleaning up anything else because all this will get deleted. And then we just call on complete, send, oops, why did I do that? Oh yeah, because it's not a message, it's a callback. So on complete, and then we'll just return the return value, or send the return value, which could be unassigned, I guess if this never runs. Alright, so dynamic value, void means no return. So I'm just making sure all is fine. Okay, so what happens if it's not dead? That means that something was still being requested that we had to stop executing. Alright, so if return type, oops, is nil. I guess we can do a switch here because we'll need to check also if it's a user data. So case nil, this means we want to wait for first request in the queue. And if it's a user data, we want to wait for the request corresponding to this async request. I guess if it's not an async request, that would be an error. And then anything else is also an error. Oops. Didn't mean to type that. I guess we could also, I don't know, this would be very helpful, but you could pass a string that says stats that we'd want to wait for all stats, but that kind of stuff is a little fiddly. If it ever have a use case for it, we can add it in, but I don't know if we ever will. So what would I can't throw a script error here because we're not inside a script. So I guess I just call I guess we I don't know how this would work. Throw new play exception. Invalid return or invalid argument to or from the coroutine yield. Okay. So we really just need a function. Well, we need a couple functions here. I'll put all this stuff that's actually callable by Lua down because we're gonna probably simplify it a lot. Probably move it to another object, as I've said. So we need some way to first see if a certain async request is complete, and then a way to convert an async request into just this normal request. So let's, first one I guess, result, oh come on. Do I not, I thought I, oh it's request not result, yeah. So get corresponding result, and then this is a Lua interface, async. Oh, I keep saying result, I don't know why that's on my mind. Lua request, and yeah, for now, I'll just return null, we'll figure out the nitty gritty later on. And then we'll need private bool is request filled. And I'll just return false for now. Okay, so this one's easy. Yeah, so we need to, so bool can continue is, let's see, let's change this to must wait equals true. And so this would be must wait. Well, it's not quite so simple because, well, I guess it is pretty simple. So really, we would get the first object here. Maybe we should move this to another function. So bool is first request ready. And then we also need to get the dynamic value for the next argument. Let's be a little more specific here. Alright, so bool ready equal, or let's do it this way. Request equals, I can actually pass this tracking, can't I? Oh, alright Taco, no problem. Good to see you back. Request equals tracking dot request 0, I guess. Yeah, we also would throw something here if the tracking request count is empty. Throw new play exception. No active async requests. Currently trying to make a cool little developer console to use in projects. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. There's not really a good one, a generic one for Unity that I know of. This only Unity server. I think that sounds like a great idea, really. Yeah, and who knows, maybe somebody will get it. Alright, so... Okay, so I just need to check that because otherwise this would throw an error, and I don't want that to happen. So, is request filled? So if it's filled, then that means we can return true. And the next argument would be request dot... Oh, I don't... It's not true, actually. Because the argument is actually async response. I'll just store it in here because we don't really care how it gets there. Okay, so Lua request and Lua response. So dynamic value dot is that how I do it? Yeah, and then user data dot... Oh, this actually creates a dynamic value, so I can do it that way. So that should be good. Made a retro style console for a project and thought, that would be nice to have plugin. Yeah, I agree actually. I need to figure out how to create a better one because when I have to test things with two clients, the second client doesn't have the debug console in it. It makes it really hard to watch logs. And then I return true. And else, I guess I'll just say dynamic value nil, and it'll return false. Oops. And then we'll have another class here, which is specific request ready. So Lua interface dot async request, but I won't actually deal with that yet because I'm running out of time. So must wait equals. Okay, so I actually return true if this is ready. So yeah, it's kind of opposite, but that's okay. So tracking and out arg. So we need to wait if this is false. Oh yeah, I need to actually get the async request, so I'm not... well, it's already throwing errors, so Lua interface async request. Is actually from the dynamic value. Yeah, this return value, but I have to cast it and everything. So yeah, I think this will be good for now. I'm making progress and I think I know what else I need to do. So when I come back tomorrow I shouldn't be too confused. So you take it you don't have a whole lot of time to work on this game. Yeah, well I basically, I only work on it during streams really. So, yeah, because this isn't my main project. It's just a kind of fun side project. I've thought about, well, once I finish my main project, I might move over and stream more often, but we'll have to see. Because there's good and bad things about streaming. I mean, it helps me stay really focused, but my voice tends to give out after a while. Well, I don't want to talk about it too much, but yeah, it is another game with like randomly generated, kind of mix between, I don't know, Mario, Spelunky, with some twists. But yeah, it should be only a few months out, so as we get some more assets completed, I think I'll show it off. But yeah, I'm already about 10 minutes late, so I gotta get going. But yeah, thanks everybody for coming out, watching and chatting. I really appreciate it. I feel like we got a lot done today, so I'm pretty happy. Oh yeah, thanks Taco. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it too. I just don't want to talk about it too much in case something ends up changing, you know, just gotta be careful. But anyway, I'll be back tomorrow around 8:30 Eastern and we'll continue where we left off. Hopefully I'll finish up with all this Lua craziness. I think it's going to be really nice for the mod authors, and I'm glad to learn all this stuff with coroutines, so it's definitely not a waste of time, but yeah. I hope everybody has a good night, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.